welcome to this edition of Stream On. I'm Jim Williams, your host. And we have a very special edition for you. It's a lot of fun. It's about a brand new Acorn original. It's called Dead Still. Now, this, folks, is one of the most unique murder mysteries, personally, that I've ever seen. The premise is just it's bizarre, but that being said, there's a lot of dark humor in it, and there's a lot of rather clever storylines, because let me tell you a little bit about Dead Still. Now, it's about what is called a memorial photographer, played by Michael Smiley, who his character is Brock Blennerhassett, and he makes a living out of photographing the dead in Victoria, Ireland. Now, during the Victorian days, that was kind of something you did. I mean, it was your way to pay homage to the dead, is you would have a family picture with the dead persons seated in the picture. I know it sounds a little macabre, but it was what was going on in those days in Victorian, not only Victorian England, but Victorian Ireland. So we have Blennerhassett, who, as I said before, is a photographer of dead people, finding out that some of these people were actually murdered. And so he gets drawn in with a detective to actually trying to solve the murders. And as I said before, it's clever. There's a lot of dark humor in it, but it's incredibly entertaining. And it's a 6-part series. And our guest is none other than Michael Smiley, the star of the Acorn original, Dead Still. Michael, welcome. Let's talk a little bit about this character and what drew you to it.
It's a strange concept. It's also very interesting as well. It's quite unique. I haven't come across anything like it in the past. And when it's set in sort of Victorian Dublin, so it's Victorian times has always seemed to be in England, and especially in the south of England, really. For it to be set in Dublin gives it another sort of quirk to it as well. And inner city Dublin in the 1800s is as fascinating to me as inner city London is to fans of Dickens and stuff like that. It's quite a little Gothic place. So there's lots to play with, which I thought was a very fertile playground if you're a writer. So I find it interesting.
When you first got the script, was it something you said, this is something I really absolutely must do? Because, again, as we said, it's unique, but it also could be a little, unique always plays, has that double-edged sword, right? It can be unique and not make sense, and it can be unique and really be something special.
Yeah, well, that side of it's not my problem, I'm the actor. So
okay. Well said.
Because,
yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're the waiter, you shouldn't be worrying about the chef. The chef shouldn't be worrying about the owner. They should just do your job,
Right.
So for me, what was interesting for me was actually the character. So I was first of all, the name Brock Blennerhassett was a very strange name. Even suggest that for a writer to go, actually, I'm going to call the main character Brock Blennerhassett. This is just, I've never heard that name before. I've never heard that name in the context of Ireland. So then that pricked my interest. So I went looking for the Blennerhassetts of Ireland and found that there was some in the north, from the Enniskillen area, and there was some in the southwest, and they were sort of landed gentry, a part of that sort of Irish Anglo aristocracy thing, So Brock, my character in Dead Still, is somebody who comes from the landed gentry. He should have had just a very easy life, but he's become bitten by the photography bug, which was a whole new thing at that time,
Right.
So it's like, it was like the equivalent of, what we're going through now with the internet and iPads and iPhones, and, just all of a sudden you could take photographs. And so with this laborious, quite hard process, to then the best thing to photograph the stuff that doesn't move. This then becomes dead people, and then people want to keep mementos of their loved ones. And also at that time was that Victorian leaning towards wearing black and horses with plumes, and it's all very it was all very morale orientated as well, for that in Ireland, because the Irish have a different attitude towards death and mourning than to say that the English have,
Right.
I find all that very fascinating.
Michael Smiley and I will be back with more of Stream On right after these words. Hey, everybody. Now, I know that the over 50,000 people of you who listen weekly to Stream On love to consume content, whether it's Netflix you're watching on a connected device at home, or perhaps it's on your tablet or your phone. Maybe you're checking out some binge-worthy programming either on the train on your way to work, or maybe it's at lunchtime. Maybe you're checking the latest news highlights on CBSN on your phone. Look, you owe it to yourself to have a VPN. And I know you guys are out there going, well, there's a lot of good VPNs out there. I know. But let me tell you about the best. The best one is Proton VPN. Why? Because I want protection and Proton gives it to me. How can you say that? Well, let me just tell you why. Proton is based in Switzerland, home of some of the world's strongest privacy laws. It's an open source, independently audited operation that has a robust privacy policy. Now, Proton is funded by their community of users. That's right. There's no revenue from ad sales. And they live by their philosophy, which is of the people over profit. Okay? Not only is Proton VPN transparent and secure, but it's also fast, reliable, stable, and you can virtually connect to over 50 countries. All right? So again, security is the single most important part of what we have when it comes to protecting our identities and identity theft. Why would you not want to have something that's going to protect you like I have something that protects me? My protection, my bulletproof vest is Proton VPN. So, tell you what, we got a deal for you. If you click on the link in our show box, which says protonvpn.com/my last name Williams, you're going to get 33% off a 2-year plan. Plus, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, that's a heck of a deal, folks. And all you have to do is go to Proton, that's PROTON VPN.com/my last name Williams, WILLIAMS, for 33% off a Proton VPN 2-year plan. Great deal. Highly recommend. You want security like I've got security? Then you want to be part of the Proton VPN family. And again, to get that 33% discount on a 2-year plan, you just go out to protonvpn.com/Williams. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it today. All the information in the show box below. Stream On continues with our guest, Michael Smiley from Dead Still. Yeah, this is not, your run-of-the-mill person. This is personally.
Yeah, I've always been if the character's interesting and then the story's interesting, that's, as an actor, that's what you're looking for. You're going, oh,
that's all you can ask for.
Different. Yeah, that's what you're hoping for,
You've got a fun group around you with Eileen O'Higgins as your niece. I mean, she's clever. I mean, she's funny, and she definitely keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, Eileen's an amazing actor. She's just such a beautiful person as well, and and really funny, and it's really easy to be beguiled by Eileen, and then she'll sideswipe you, and I think that's what she brings that to Nancy. She's got a good understanding of Nancy, especially as the series goes on. We see more of her spirit, Nancy's spirit, and the same with Kerr. Kerr's another great actor who's
right.
His portrayal of Conall Molloy, I think, is great. He's got a yearning about him. He's got the sense of he wants to do better, but at the same time he's humble. And all of those, there's lots of underlying character traits that he portrays effortlessly.
Well, I think
one of my favourites is definitely.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Aidan O'Hare, who plays Regan, the detective, and Aidan's another great layered actor, and he's really, I believe him, just like I believe Molloy and I believe Nancy. I think you got to believe these characters, to go with them.
Yeah, one of the good things too about Kerr in the show is he is incredibly loyal to you, and definitely someone who, pretty much worships the work that you do and takes it as seriously as you do.
Yeah, it's a bit like a rock star,
Right.
Who's, it's not like you're meeting somebody who's very, who's of the moment. It's not like Jay-Z. It was like he was meeting Peter Frampton as opposed to Jay-Z. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, he's got all my albums, but I've got no new stuff coming out.
Right.
I think that sort of hero worship, in the sense of, he's got aspirations towards that. And if you look at, like, what Regan has to go through is he has to have somebody coming along who's an artist, who has to draw the murder scenes, who has to draw the court scenes, and Conall's got that talent, but actually Conall's not wanting to stay there. He wants to move forward, and he sees photography as the way forward, and this is his, he sees that as his key to getting out of the slums, basically.
I think the great thing about the show, as I said before, it's quirky, it's different, but it's so well done that you definitely want to watch it. It's one of those things, to me, that it's a very bingeable show, and I think that's part of the charm. It's, there's a hook there that each time you want to just see what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I think that's what a great sort of modern entertainment compliment to give, to call it bingeable. It's because before these sort of TV series online, or on your smart TV or whatever, there was no binge. You had to wait till the next week, or you had to wait till whatever, and now we want it now, and we can have it now. So the best that you can say to somebody is, it's like I suppose it's the equivalent of a book. It's a page turner,
right?
And I think so. I think it's lovely to hear that it's bingeable. I really like that, bingeable.
When we got, when I got into television, which was some 40 plus years ago, there was only 3 networks here in the United States, and 4 actually with PBS involved, but 3 commercial networks. So to your point, if you were hooked, as I was as a kid, on, say, a Dallas or Dynasty or one of those incredibly, amazing dramas, or MASH, even, for that matter, a comedy, you had to wait. I mean, a part of the joy of it was, you did wait. I mean, there was a water cooler kind of effect to it. Such is not the case now when we have our streaming situation, because in the old days, I mean, as I said, if I wanted to watch Dallas, I had to be, in front of my television set at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. If, on the other hand, nowadays, if you and I wish to watch something, well, prime time's whenever we want it to be. It can be, it It could be 4 minutes after 4 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon if you happen to have the time to do it. So
and
yeah,
also you can watch it on whatever platform you want as well. So
right.
you can watch it on your phone, your
Right.
iPad, your TV. You know, so there's so many other aspects of it. And for
Right.
years, people wondering, there was that scramble to try and find out what platform that our information was going to come through. And as it's turned out, it's going to come through on everything.
Right. And, the streaming services like Acorn have really done a service for those of us here in the U.S. because, a show like yours may or may not get to the United States. And if it does get to the United States, it may be a year or 2 or 3 years after it aired in the UK. But now we're getting, programming from the UK, from Canada, from Australia, from New Zealand, from throughout Europe in almost real time, which gives us the opportunity to really, enjoy content from around the world, which prior to, more recently, we didn't have that opportunity.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. I remember going the first time I went to the States was, I think, 77 or 78. We went to Boston to stay with my aunt. And there was a series on at the time called Soap. Do you remember Soap?
Oh, yeah. That's Billy Crystal's breakout show.
Yeah. And I was in love with it. And they would show the episode in the morning that they showed the night before. And then later on in the day, they would show the new episode. And then that would be repeated the next morning. I couldn't get my head around that it was. I just thought it was the most amazing, modern world I'd ever come across in my life. That and pepperoni pizza, pepperoni pizza, root beer, and soap. Those were the three things that blew my mind when I first went to America.
That's a pretty good. Triumvirate from especially color work. It's funny, those same people at Soap created the Golden Girls, and
yes, and you can tell as well, and Benson was another
Benson, right?
As well.
And Mark Cherry, who was Mark Cherry, who was involved with that group, would later go on. He was the youngest of the writers. He would later go on to create Desperate Housewives. So definitely a lot of talent in that group. Well, look, we're getting close to the end here. It's been fantastic chatting with you. Talk about where we can find you on social media and some of the other projects you're working on.
Well, you can get me on Twitter. I don't do Instagram because I just can't be bothered taking a bloody photograph every day.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? And I don't want to watch other people's dinners or dogs or swimming pools or mansions in lockdown. None of that soothes my furrowed brow. So I use Twitter for work and jokes and whatnot. So you can get me on that, Mr. Michael Smiley. And as far as projects are concerned, I've got a few things coming out later. There's a film I did with Elijah Wood that's I think is going to be available on online soon or through these TV things called Come to Daddy.
Okay.
And like my own film at the moment, which is a great antidote to being an actor waiting for work, is to actually start writing your own work. So I'm writing a feature film at the moment called Hireth, Hiraeth, which is a Welsh word, and it's about a man going back to Northern Ireland after 30 years. So that's keeping me busy, and there's another few bits and bobs coming out throughout the year. There's a series called Bloodlands, which should be coming out. I think probably in the next couple of months. We shot that just before lockdown, so we shot that from Christmas till about March, and it's set in Northern Ireland. It's a thriller set around the peace process in Northern Ireland.
Sounds like a fascinating film.
Yeah, it's about these murders that happened around the time of the peace process, and they didn't report them. So there was a potential for a serial killer out there, and he or she may have popped back up 20 odd years later. So that's the thriller.
Well, Michael, we'll keep a lookout for all of that. We'll also wait for the debut coming up here on Monday of the new show on Acorn. And thanks so much for joining us. And please come back anytime you've got something you want to promote. We're more than happy to help you.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. Lovely talking to you. And
my pleasure.
Yeah, God bless.
Special thanks to Michael Smiley, our guest. He stars in the Acorn original series playing now called Dead Still. Highly recommend. By all means, check it out. We'll be back with more of Stream On right after these words. Hey, everybody. Now, I know that the over 50,000 people of you who listen weekly to Stream On love to consume content. Whether it's Netflix you're watching on a connected device at home, or perhaps it's on your tablet or your phone. Maybe you're checking out some binge-worthy programming either on the train on your way to work, or maybe it's at lunchtime. Maybe you're checking the latest news highlights on CBSN on your phone. Look, you owe it to yourself to have a VPN. And I know you guys are out there going, well, there's a lot of good VPNs out there. I know. But let me tell you about the best. The best one is Proton VPN. Why? Because I want protection and Proton gives it to me. How can you say that? Well, let me just tell you why. Proton is based in Switzerland, home of some of the world's strongest privacy laws. It's an open source, independently audited operation that has a robust privacy policy. Now, Proton is funded by their community of users. That's right. There's no revenue from ad sales. And they live by their philosophy, which is of the people over profit. Okay? Not only is Proton VPN transparent and secure, but it's also fast, reliable, stable, and you can virtually connect to over 50 countries. All right? So again, security is the single most important part of what we have when it comes to protecting our identities and identity theft. Why would you not want to have something that's going to protect you like I have something that protects me? My protection, my bulletproof vest is Proton VPN. So, tell you what, we got a deal for you. If you click on the link in our show box, which says protonvpn.com/my last name Williams, you're going to get 33% off a 2-year plan. Plus, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, that's a heck of a deal, folks. And all you have to do is go to Proton, that's PROTON VPN.com/my last name Williams, WILLIAMS, for 33% off a Proton VPN 2-year plan. Great deal. Highly recommend. You want security like I've got security? Then you want to be part of the Proton VPN family. And again, to get that 33% discount on a 2-year plan, you just go out to protonvpn.com/Williams. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it today. All the information in the show box below. Welcome back, everybody. Now, if you're not one of the over 50,000 subscribers to the podcast, well, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, we make it simple to do. All you have to do is go out to the Apple Podcast Store. We're part of the Apple Podcast family. Same thing goes at the Google Play Store because we're part of the Google Podcast family. You can find us on Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, as well as iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube, to name a few. Now, if you have an assistant device like, let's say Alexa or Google or even the Apple products, which answers the name of Siri, you can say, hey, Alexa, please play the latest edition of Stream On with Jim Williams, and it will do it for you, okay? Now, if you still can't find us, pull out the old Google machine, type in Stream On with Jim Williams, and hit the either favorite button or the like button, and you'll be subscribed to the podcast, we'll get you one every week. Deliver it to your phone, to your tablet, or to both. Okay? All right. Well, special thanks to our guest, Michael Smiley, who's the star of Dead Still. All the information in our show box below on where to find it on Acorn TV. It's an original, and it is awesome. Check it out. Well, thanks to everyone who helped put the podcast together today. So from all of us at the family here of Stream On with Jim Williams, we wish you and your family a very safe and joyous holiday weekend. Until next time, folks, be well.